Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to all of you. Today is Monday. I am Drishti and today we are going to cover your 24th lecture of Polity and Governance. We started this initiative for you a couple of weeks back, actually 2 months back, where we bring you the current affairs of one particular subject on one particular day, and that will help you in your holistic coverage of your examination, right? First of all, before we get started, I have an announcement to make. We are going to launch a crash course for Himachal Pradesh Administrative Services exam. The exam is due on 16th of October, right? And then there is your Nayab Tehsildar exam on 30th of October. So we are bringing you a prelims crash course exam, for which the link for which you can find in the description box. From there you can register and all the details you'll come to know from there. Right now, today is your 24th class of Polity and Governance. Before we get started, we have collaborated one more initiative with this particular section, and that is of Seize the Mains. Right, so we give you one particular question daily for your answer writing, to which the answers you can write and post them on our website, the link for which again you can find in the description box. The answers will be evaluated by our expert team, and the entire initiative is free of cost, from where you can take the maximum benefit, right? So let's see what are the topics for today. The topics for today are Collegium system पे थोड़ा सा debate is going on. Supreme Court has met recently, and Supreme Court Collegium has met. Basically, the key issue is CJI Ramanna is retiring, and the next Chief Justice of India is due their posting. So there is a lot of debate going on. Justice UU Lalit is the chief contender. We are going to see how Collegium has involved, what are the pros, what are the cons, and everything related to it. Even your Seize the Mains question is related to this one, so please pay attention. It will help you writing better answer in your exam. Then your second question is, second topic for today is Rajya Sabha has passed anti-doping bill. See, earlier also we have covered doping in very detail, how doping affects, how chief sports person, including one of the very prominent from every country, particularly in past couple of years, Sharapova has been in news, how doping has affected, how doping has killed the careers of many sports persons, and how India is being affected considering the current performance of Indian athletes in Commonwealth Games. India has to be very careful about they do not fall prey to the false accusations of doping. So India has finally come up with its own doping bill, and which is bound to help both the federations, the sports federations, and the athletes in a very positive manner, right? And your third topic today, we are going to discuss Enforcement Directorate and CBI. Now EDI, Enforcement Directorate, डायरेक्टर का जो टेन्योर है, the tenure of Enforcement Directorate's director, that has been extended again, and there has been a petition, a couple of petitions about it in Supreme Court, and Supreme Court has asked Center to give a review on how these things are evolving, and there has been questions challenging the constitutional validity of it, right? So these are the couple of topics that we are going to cover today, but foremost, let's start with your Seize the Mains question. So your Seize the Mains question is related to the Collegium. We are going to discuss in the very first topic. Okay, the question is, judges appoint judges in Indian judicial system. You have to comment on it. You have to write the answers in 150 words. So please, first of all, subscribe to our channel. Also write the answer and post it on the website, the link for which you can find in the description box, and get your answers evaluated. So even if you write one answer daily, there is going to be a huge progress in your answer writing content development. Also, you'll know the mistakes that you're making meanwhile, right? Now let's get started with our first topic. the first topic is the explanation for your collegium system. Is the mains question. Please pay attention, right? So let's see why this question was in news. This question was in news because recently 5-judge Supreme Court Collegium, which was headed by Chief Justice N.V. Ramanna, he is about to retire, right? N.V. Ramanna, they met and they have decided that they are going to kickstart the process of appointment of next CJI who is bound to retire on 26th of August, right? अगर हम बात करें how the next Chief Justice of India is appointed, so there is no particular rules and guidelines laid to it in the Constitution of India, right? There is a document that is called Memorandum of Procedure, and basically what happens is the law minister, he asks the outgoing CJI of India to recommend the next CJI, right? Now memorandum of procedure ke according CJI should be, what it spells out it, your CJI should be the senior most judge of Supreme Court considered fit to hold the office, right? Now although your memorandum of procedure says that CJI's views must be sought at appropriate time, ठीक है, the timeline is given to be appropriate time, but there is no concrete timeline given, but generally the precedent has been set that all this process begins just before 1 month the retirement of the current Chief Justice of India, right? Now collegium system basically अगर देखा जाए तो it was introduced as a response to the executive interference in judicial appointments. There was a lot of interference particularly that came out after the Indira Gandhi government. They intervened in the CJI appointment, right? So basically that was the contending point there. Now collegium system was brought in basically in response to that, but if we see it in today's time, it has enormously failed because there has been continuously reappointment of the retired judges based on the convenience of the current political party. So somewhere if you see, that still impacts or sort of forms a biased opinion of the judiciary itself, right? Now if you talk about the collegium of the court, so it comprises of Chief Justice of India and there are 4 senior most judges of the Supreme Court. Now collegium system, how it functions, judges are appointed by the judges and they are transferred only by the judges. System, this is not formed by an act of parliament or there is no as such a constitutional provision about it per se, but this system has evolved by the judgments of the Supreme Court. How? There are a couple of articles and there has been first case judgment, second case judgment, third and fourth case judgment. We'll discuss this ahead, right? So this is the due course that has happened after which this whole system has evolved in itself. Now this SC Collegium, Supreme Court Collegium, is basically headed by Chief Justice of India and again it comprises of 4 senior most judges of Supreme Court in the case of Supreme Court, and similar process goes parallelly with the High Courts as well. Now High Court Collegium की अगर बात करें, it is led by the Chief Justice of High Court and 4 most senior most judges of particularly that court. Now the names recommended for appointment by a High Court Collegium, right, they reach the government only after they have been approved by the Chief Justice of India and the Supreme Court Collegium. Now government can actually return the name of recommended judge for the government can return the recommended judge's name for reconsideration, but if the collegium again says this is the judge we want, whom we want to be the next CJI, the government cannot bypass it. Ultimately Supreme Court Collegium has the final authority over it. If we talk about the evolution of collegium system, so there is Article 124 of the Indian Constitution which provides that judges of the Supreme Court, they are appointed by the President. Okay? This is what the Article 124 says. Now he should consult such a number of judges in Supreme Court or High Court as they may deem necessary for the purpose. Ideally, the number is fixed to 4, right? Now, similarly, Article 124 talks about the judges of the Supreme Court. Similarly, Article 217, it talks about the similar procedure in the High Court. First judges case की बात करें, which happened in 1981, court said consultation under Article 124 doesn't means unanimity. So basically, this means President is not bound by Chief Justice of India's advice. Then what happened again? Second judge's case judgment came in 1993 and court it overruled its previous judgment. Again, third judges came and court expanded the Collegium to 5-member judges and included the current working CJI and 4 senior most judges. Fourth judge's case happened in 2015. So see, it started from 1990s and it has continued till 2015, and even now there has been a continuous issue of NJAC, and this whole process of choosing the judges is still a burning point in Indian constitution era. ठीक है? The SC upheld the primacy of Collegium. Further, the Supreme Court, they strike down National Judicial Appointments Commission Act and deemed it to be unconstitutional. Now, Supreme Court, what it held was that the act gave significant powers to the government, and similarly, again, the interference of the executive has increased manyfold. It was bound to increase the interference of executive in the judiciary manifold. Now, court said that it encroached upon judiciary's independence and undermined the basic structure doctrine of the constitution. Now, your NJAC, it comprised of 3 judges of Supreme Court, right? 1 central law minister and 2 civil society experts. इसमें से 3 judges of Supreme Court could be said they were the unbiased people. Now, law minister used to be the central authority from central government, and 2 civil society experts could have been swayed in government's favor, right? So, if you see, it was a 50-50 tie if this would have continued. So, this was ultimately scrapped by the Supreme Court of India. Now, any person would not be recommended by your NJAC if any of 2 of its members did not accept the recommendation. There were multiple clauses under it, but ultimately it was scrapped. Now, why the need was felt because it separated the judiciary from the influence of executive and legislative, right? Now, this was the chief reason that was given. Also, if you see the cases, the number of cases pending in the judiciary, in about 46% of the cases, Indian government is the chief litigant, right? 2 parties होती हैं जब केस लड़ा जाता है. One is Indian government and other the case is going on with some other party. So, in about 46% cases, Indian government is the chief litigant, and if there is a influence of central government over judiciary, then we cannot expect a fair justice delivery system. So, again, this was the chief reason. Now, executive organ की अगर आप बात करो, executive organ is not specialist and does not have enough knowledge about the judicial system of India. So, that a lack of knowledge was said to be one of the chief reasons. Also, there is always a political vulnerability that people can place and in judicial higher ranks, the people, the government can place the people in the judicial higher ranks which might favor them. So, this was deemed one of the chief reasons. Now, why Collegium system was criticized? It gave the why Collegium system is criticized? It gives enormous power to judges, and it is said that most of the times judges, they misuse their power depending upon the internal politics that happens in the judiciary itself, right? Collegium system is undemocratic, right? There is no unanimous vote. Only the 4 senior most judges or the cream of the Supreme Court, they decide who is going to be the next CJI, right? So, there is whatever internal stuff is going on in judiciary that impacts who is going to be the next Chief Justice of India. That might bring the capability into questions at times, right? Third point, why Collegium system has been criticized is there is no official procedure for selection, no official procedure for selection or any written manual for functioning. Okay, so mostly what happens is sons and daughters of very high ranking judges, they sort of get favoritism there, right? They get promoted to the higher ranks very fast. So sort of you see there is always a nepotism angle there. Now delays over the appointment, they still are continuously persistent. There are a lot of cases that are hanging because the judiciary, they do not have full-fledged staff, right? Many of the seats are remaining vacant, because of which there has been continuous problems. Now if you talk about the procedure, it lacks uniformity. Also, the decisions that are being taken, they involve a lot of secrecy. So these are the reasons why collegium system has been continuously criticized. But right now this is what is being practiced, and there is a very good chance Justice UU Lalit is going to be the next Chief Justice of India, right? I hope this topic is clear. Seize the mains आपका आंसर था judges in India, judges appoints judges, comment. So you can write your answer. I have given you major points. Depending upon what your thought process is, what you think about it, please write the answer and then get it checked. Okay, now let's get back to our second topic of today, anti-doping bill. So recently Parliament has passed the National Anti-Doping Bill 2022. Basically what doping is, doping means the intake of any substance that can be natural or synthetic, natural or of synthetic origin, which basically what it does is it enhances your muscular performance, maybe for long periods of time or maybe for short periods of time, right? Now what it does is, for very short periods of time, it gives you an edge, a leverage over other people who are competing in the same sports. So the competition itself, it becomes unfair. See, everyone knows, all of you know what sort of endorsements, benefits they come out for a person or an athlete who has performed very well in any of the international sports events, be it Olympics, be it Asian Games, be it Commonwealth Games, right? Be it separate championships, right? So if you see, doping has come out to be a very prominent issue, not just India but worldwide, and WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency, has been pushing the governments all over the world to come up with a properly framed anti-doping law, and India has finally come as an achiever in this domain, right? Now let's discuss what are the basic key provisions of National Anti-Doping Bill. So basically what it does, it prohibits doping. Now athletes support personnel, ठीक है, physio हो गए, medical professionals हो गए, and other persons who are engaged in the whole sports arena, they have been strictly prohibited, banned from doping. Now basically what will happen is, if you're caught violating the doping law, this might lead into either disqualification, this might lead to your forfeiture of medals. Even if you won the medal, the medal's credit won't be given to you, or medal wouldn't be given to you. Then any sort of points and prizes that you have achieved, they will be taken away, they won't be given to you. And in the world arena, at world level, international level, you wouldn't be allowed to participate in any event. Okay? Now there is going to be a statutory backing for NADA, National Anti-Doping Agency. Currently anti-doping rules that are implemented by NADA, but it was established as a society. There was no legal backing to it. Now this bill provides for constituting NADA as a statutory body, right? It was a society earlier, Societies Act ke under. Now it is going to be a statutory body. A statute is going to be passed and it is going to be a statutory body. I hope you know what a statutory body is, and it will be headed by a Director General appointed by the central government. ठीक है. Now functions of the agency की आप बात करो तो they will include, they'll include planning, implementing and monitoring anti-doping activities, investigating your anti-doping violations. Everything is they're going to oversee. Now National Board for Anti-Doping in Sports की बात करो तो they will be giving recommendations to the government based on anti-doping regulations that are compliant with the international commitments. Basically, they will be in line with the recommendations that are given by WADA. WADA particularly for Olympics. Also, if there are separate similar committees for other sports, they will be in line with those as well. Now, board will oversee the activities of NADA and issues direction to it. The board will also constitute National Anti-Doping Disciplinary Panel, basically determining the consequences of anti-doping rule, right? Now, National Anti-Doping Agency की आप बात करो तो that will be the appeal panel to hear any sort of disciplinary complaints against the athletes that have been found to be violative of this particular sports lines that have been laid down for them, right? So this is a positive development. Let's see how this whole process evolves with time, but for now this is seen as a positive change. And considering how well India has been performing in the sports in past couple of years, it started with last to last Olympics, and right now the graph of India in sports is increasing, okay? It is showing appreciation, and let's hope this also helps in taking the graph up further, right? Now we'll discuss third and very important news of past week. Now, Enforcement Directorates and Central Bureau of Investigation's chief's tenure extension has been put into question. What has happened is recently Supreme Court it has sought response from central government and Central Vigilance Commission within 10 days. Basically, there have been petitions that say how there has been an extension given to the directors of ED, and the act has been amended, basically allowing such extensions to hold up in the court, which already had an upper capping of 5 years, but that has been surpassed. Also, why there has been so much of riling up against this decision, because everything has been brought just before the winter session of the parliament, right? Winter session of the parliament, and everything has been processed through ordinances. So that is sort of seeing the government is arm forcing the opposition into following it, and there is no democratic process provided per se for it. So this has come into question. Let's see what the whole issue is in detail. Now, अगर हम current tenure की बात करें तो for the current tenure, the chiefs of central agencies currently have fixed 2-year tenure, but now they can be given 3 annual extensions, जिसमें which it makes the whole period to be of 5 years, right? Now, amendments की बात करें तो there were 2 amendments made. For Delhi CBI director, the change was made in Delhi Special Police Establishment Act of 1946, right? And for the ED director, it was made to Central Vigilance Commission Act 2003. It provided that no further such extension will be granted after the completion of period of 5 years in total, but changes have been made, and this is a point of contention. Basically, why this is being criticized is this has been brought through ordinance, I already told you, and this is being done just before the winter session of the parliament. Also, it is said that this is repetitively being done because the central government wants people who are aligned with their ideology in the decision making process. So pet parrots in Enforcement Directorate and CBI, to keep them in their place, this is being done. Also, this goes enormously, humongously against your Vineet Narayan and common cases judgment, where Supreme Court clearly gave a verdict, right? And it goes against it. So this is being criticized on this grounds. Now, अगर हम बात करें थोड़ा सा background देख लेते हैं about Central Bureau of Investigation. So Central Bureau of Investigation is the main investigation agency basically for central government and for the cases relating to corruption and major criminal crimes. ठीक है, करप्शन एंड मेजर क्रिमिनल प्रोब्स. नाउ अगर ओरिजिन की बात करें तो इट्स ओरिजिन केम फ्रॉम वर्ल्ड वॉर 2, राइट? देयर वर द issues of bribery and corruption during World War II. So Special police establishment was set up in 1941 and from there it traces its origin. CBI was set up basically by a resolution of Ministry of Home Affairs after your Sathanam committee recommendations. I hope you have read this in Polity in your Lakshmikant. The superintendence of CBI rests with CVC, Central Vigilance Commission, for corruption cases and with the Department of Personnel and Training in other matters. Right now it is then attached office of Department of Personnel and Training, right. Now, although your Delhi Special Police Forces Act gives legal power to CBI, CBI is still not a statutory body, right. CBI is not mentioned in your DSPE Act. The executive order of Ministry of Home Affairs did not mention CBI to be constituted under DSPE Act. Please remember that this is one major trick part that can come in your prelims exam. Right. Now, functions of CBI, if we talk about them, so they basically oversee your corruption cases, economic crimes, financial frauds, etc., special crimes like terrorism, kidnapping, and if requested by the central government or the state government, central government can appoint CBI to work upon a particular case as well. Now let's talk about Enforcement Directorate. So Directorate of Enforcement की बात करें, it's a law enforcement agency. Basically it oversees your economic intelligence crimes, right. It enforces your economic laws and whatever issues, parallel economies are currently being run under this whole black market economy, it looks over that. Now, if we talk about ministry, it is a part of Ministry of Revenue, Department of Revenue, which comes under Ministry of Finance. Now, it is composed of who all are the members. The members come from Indian Revenue Services, Indian Police Services, Indian Administrative Services, and there are people who get promoted by giving the departmental exams. So, from within itself, there are a couple of officers who stand at the highest pedestal of hierarchy, right. Now, if you talk about the origin of this directorate, it goes back to 1st May 1956 when enforcement units were formed in the Department of Economic Affairs. Basically, it was formed for handling of exchange of control laws, under your Foreign Exchange Regulation Act of 1947 basically. Now, prime objective अगर आप देखो for ED is FEMA, also your Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. Now, Directorate of Enforcement की बात करो, its headquarters are there in New Delhi and it is headed by your Director of Enforcement. There are 5 regional offices at Mumbai, Chennai, Chandigarh, Kolkata and Delhi, which are headed by special directors of enforcement itself, right. So, these were the details about ED and CBI. I hope आज जितने topics हमने discuss करे हैं, all of them are clear. If you have any doubts, you can mention them in comments. I'll try taking them up in the next class. Till then, stay tuned and keep learning, keep watching. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.